Welcome back to the Trash Station Podcast, your gaming podcast all about the weird, unknown, and forgotten video games. I am your host, Chris, here with my co-host, Max.
Hi, Chris. In our friend circles, we're known to play mostly trashy games. We're talking anime games, retro games you've never heard of, the indie stuff on itch.io, and everything in between.
And as usual, we'll add those games to our tier list that we call the Landfill, chat about our creative hobbies, and shout out some of our favorite content creators on the internet. And today, we have a special guest with us. It is Wiedo from the New Game Old Flame podcast.
Hello.
Wiedo, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I went cycling today, and so I've sort of like new energy. It's both tiring and also gives you energy. So that's good.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm a co-host on New Game Old Flame. It's a podcast about new games on old platforms, for example, on the NES, but also on retro 8-bit computers like a Commodore 64, but all plethora of old systems. And so they're basically indie games on old systems, which is quite... I love them, especially my Game Boy games. The new Game Boy games are great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have you played any great ones in the past few months, weeks?
Well, I think it's like every year, this time of the year, there's like not many good games coming out. I think we have to wait for a few months before there's good stuff again. And now I just played some very short ones, but I also played some old ones. So, for example, I played Bubble from Morphcat on the NES, which is a really nice gated exploration game where you play as a bubble. So and so you can't touch the walls, but you float on water and you can dive in the water and you shoot out the water the same height you did the dive. So that's the main mechanic. So you have to dive under stuff and jump over stuff and not touch the walls. And you will find, like every gated exploration game, you find upgrades. For example, an upgrade to your bubble to dive deeper or dive infinitely. So stuff like that, or double jump, stuff like that. And it's really short. It's maybe an hour long. Maybe not. Yeah, I think it's an hour long or something. But there's a lot of options to randomize it and do speedruns, and they even have a ghost option, so you can record a ghost and then raise yourself your own ghost if you're like speedrunning. So it's a really polished game, and that's an old one. Our next episode, actually, maybe it's already out when this episode releases, is about new older games on all platforms. Wow, we call it like retro gems. I don't know what the name of this is, but like there's even 10-year-old homebrew games which are still quite good. So we check those out. So that's a new thing we introduced because of there's not really good games coming out. I've seen yet though.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting niche that you guys found yourself in. Just in terms of like the general gaming landscape, like there's not a whole lot of people that are really talking about games, these homebrew games that are being made for older platforms, especially a lot of the older computers and stuff.
I think these games get a bit of a bad rap because people think, oh, homebrew, it's also the name homebrew is maybe not the greatest name. We always discuss in our show, isn't there a better name for it?
Yeah.
We call it modern retro or stuff like that. But homebrew doesn't sound like something polished. So, but sometimes, like a game for the Game Boy Advance, Good Boy Galaxy, that's just there's no better game on the Game Boy Advance than Good Boy Galaxy. I think it's such an insane good game, and they even made the Switch port. No, I think the Switch port's not out yet, but there's a Steam port, which is a bit different, but just a higher resolution. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's just such an insane good game, and nobody talks about this game, which is kind of sad. Did you ever heard about it?
I heard about it on your podcast,
Yeah,
basically.
right. Well, it was the game of the year, I think,
Yeah.
2 years ago, or maybe last. No, 2 years ago, I guess. But yeah, I would recommend everyone to check that game out.
Yeah, I think I heard about it on your podcast also because the name sounds really familiar, but I know it's not something that I've played.
Well, so I hope. Well, we're really in a niche, so I probably I don't have. I'm not aware about how many listeners we have. Um, but I hope we reach some new people who willing to check these games out.
Right. Yeah, that is always kind of the hope when you're talking about kind of like what we do. We talk about weird indie games that a lot of people don't talk about.
Hmm.
For the most part. I mean, sometimes we're like I'll be talking about some pretty mainstream games today, but
Hmm.
a lot of times we're talking about a lot of these weirder games that we find for cheap online. And yeah, it's just fun to be able to tell people about these games and be like, hey, these things are actually good. You should be paying attention to them instead of only paying attention to like whatever Nintendo's doing or whatever AAA studio is doing. So
Well, that's exactly what I do. I think almost always.
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the last
same.
I think the last 20 games I played were just like my short list on itch.io, which are like half an hour games, which
Mhm.
are maybe not that polished, but most of the time they have interesting ideas, and
Mhm.
that's what I'm looking for in games. That or I'll see a new idea, I'm excited about something new, and then maybe it doesn't work, but still it's not generic, and I
Yeah,
don't like generic games.
it's
So
memorable.
right, so yeah, that's I guess what I'm looking for: creativity, weird art styles.
Yeah,
Stuff like that. And maybe it doesn't work all the time, but I rather have a interesting weird game which is janky than a very polished uh, like
yeah,
uh,
whatever. Just another Ubisoft game, right?
right.
Mhm.
There's like a comparison one YouTuber did, that you have like a game which uh, is either you drip feed like morphine slowly into you, and it's like a boring experience, or you sniff the best Colombian cocaine, and you have like the best short crazy experience. I thought that's a really nice comparison. That I think, okay, I rather have the good stuff
Yeah,
than the
yeah, yeah.
boring stuff.
Indie games are a drug. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah. They certainly can be.
Right.
But let's go ahead and start talking about some games. And I was trying to find uh one of the games that I was playing. So I actually
Okay.
want to start today by sharing a little story. I picked up a PSVR 1 not that long
Ooh,
ago.
good.
Um so one of the stores near to me that I go and look for like retro games at is Half Price Books. And the cool thing about Half Price Books is like they mostly sell books, but every once in a while you'll find good deals on video games, or you'll just find weird stuff that somebody traded in, and you'll be able to
Hmm.
find an interesting game for $10 or $20, whatever. Um, so they had a PSVR for $100, which is about standard for what a VR headset plus the two move controllers goes for.
Oh,
But
really? That cheap? Seems
yeah,
cheap.
Yeah.
it is actually pretty cheap. But it also came with one of the second generation PlayStation 4 controllers. So like they redesigned the controller slightly where it had like the light bar coming through the touchpad at the top instead of just having the light bar on the backside. So and those controllers by themselves are like $40 to $50,
Hmm.
Hmm.
which is a really good price because like whenever I'm looking at it when I was looking at like PlayStation VR online, you're never getting an actual PlayStation 4 controller with it at the same time that you're only ever getting like the headset and the move controllers because everybody just assumes that you already have a PlayStation 4 controller. So I was like, well, this is too good of a deal to pass up. But I didn't know enough about the VR at the time when I bought it to realize that they forgot to give me some of the cords and stuff until I had gotten home. And a few days later, I finally went to go set it up. And I was like, well, it's missing things. Like, I can't use this. And so I took it back to the store, and I'm like, you guys sold me this. It said that it was missing, like, a thing for the charging stand that it came on. But it's missing, like, entire pieces that I need to be able to use this thing. And they're like, hang on. We forgot to give them to you.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to bring it back home, and it works. It works great. The PSVR is pretty cool, I think. I haven't played with it too much.
I'm so out of the loop with the VR thing. So this
Me too.
VR one works for PS4 only? What
PS4.
does it work for? Okay.
So the way that you have to have it set up, it's like this really convoluted set of wires where you have to have they call it the processor box, and you have to run a USB cord from your PS4 to that box, and then HDMI cords from your PS4 to that box, and then from that box to the TV, and then the HDMI cords from that box to your headset. So it's a lot of wires. But once I have it like set up and working, and you have to have the PlayStation camera as well.
Okay.
Wow.
So that has to be plugged into the PS4 with another wire. It's a lot of fucking wires. But once everything's set up and it's working, it's pretty cool. I like it. The first time I tried using it, I did start to get a headache because I do get like motion sickness from games from time to time. So I was like, I'm gonna take this off. I'm not gonna fuck with it right now. A couple days later, I came back, didn't have any problems. Was able to play for like an hour and a half. Didn't have any issues. I will mention, when I get to talking about one of the games for the PSVR that I tried to play, I did have some issue with that. But the cool thing about the first thing that I played on the PlayStation VR is there's like a demo game that gets installed on your PlayStation 4 the first time you boot it up, and it's like a small Astro's Playroom style.
I think, yeah.
It's not Astro's Playroom, because Astro's Playroom was the one that was on PS5 as like the tech demo for that. But they used the Astrobot as like the tech demo for PlayStation technology. And so this 3D platformer, you as the VR headset are kind of like the camera, and you're following around Astro, and like it's only one level. It takes about 15-20 minutes to get through, and you're collecting coins, and the main items that you're trying to collect, or the main collectible that you're trying to collect, are other little bots that have been like kidnapped. And so what they'll do is kind of hide them in places around the map where like you have to physically turn and look in a different direction to be able to see where the platforms are, to be able to get to some of these bots. So I found that really, really cool. It's
sort of like a diorama style.
Yep, exactly.
Nice. I think wasn't there a full game as well for this Astrobot VR game?
Yep.
So this is just a demo, and there's like a full game as well. Yeah. I heard good things about it, but I honestly never played VR.
Yeah,
I
hadn't either, but like I said, I got such a good deal on it that it was a deal that I couldn't pass up, so I went ahead and bought it. I have not played that full game yet. It's definitely on my list of games that I want to get to, and I'm going to continue to kind of play around with the VR for a little while. But so the demo on its own, that part of the game was really cool, and then there's like a claw machine. But then the other games that are within the actual like demo software are all supposed to be like multiplayer games. So you're supposed to have one person inside the headset, and then other people are either controlling other characters with like controllers, or are supposed to be there to like tell the person in the headset like where to go on the screen to do something, but I didn't have any
Right.
way to play with, so I wasn't able to play any of those, unfortunately.
I would have picked that up for that price. Especially, I still need an extra PS4 controller.
Exactly.
So that would be a great deal. That's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I always wanted to try it out. I only heard that the PlayStation VR 1, I think the frame rate wasn't good or the resolution wasn't good. I don't one of both or both. I don't know. And that's maybe what causes your like headaches or stuff like that, because the
Mhm.
motion sickness comes from low frame rates. That what I know of. I never played VR, so I can't tell from experience. But I heard like newer systems are easier on your
Eyes.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Or so yeah.
I will say, like, I didn't have any problems with the frame rate, but that's probably mostly to do because I was playing a Sony tech demo
Mm.
majority of the
Yeah.
time that I was playing it, so they're gonna show off like the best qualities that they possibly can. But I mean the resolution, like you can see the pixels, so I don't know what the resolution is. It might be 720 or it might be a little less than that. I'm not for sure, but I play so many old games, like the resolution doesn't matter to me at all. Like Devil May Cry 1 is like 240p and runs at 60 frames per second, and that game's great, so I don't care.
No, of course, that's true. But I think in VR it can make a difference.
Oh,
I
definitely.
don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah, maybe
I also don't know very much about VR.
Right.
You should
I-
invite Elite MIT, I guess.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should. But I know that at work we have a Meta Quest 2 that like
Mhm.
just sits in a box. So I'm thinking of bringing it home like one weekend and just toy with it. So
That'd be cool.
yeah, if I end up trying some VR, I can update you on how I feel about it compared to
Cool.
your first experience.
Along with that demo, I did download and try to play another game, and I'm going to not be able to pronounce the name of this game properly, uh, because it's really weird. So it's supposed to be a play on Brigade. So the game is supposed to be called Lethal Brigade, but instead of BR at the beginning of Brigade, it's VR. So it's supposed to be like Lethal Brigade, I think, which is fucking stupid. The demo or the like trailers for this game on the PlayStation Network make it look like it's supposed to be a Time Crisis clone. So it's supposed to be just like an on-rail shooter.
Mhm.
But I can't get this fucking game to work. And I don't know why. So like I get into the like main menu of the game, and it's supposed to be played with a controller, and it's telling me like I have to press a button to like reload my gun to be able to choose what menu option I want to choose, and the buttons just don't work. So I think the game is broken, and I wasted $5, which is really unfortunate.
And the buttons are working?
No.
No, I mean the actual button on other games. Does it work on other games?
Yeah, my controller works fine on every other
Okay.
game I fucking play. Like,
I mean, it could be the issue as well.
no, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but like I was trying to play it with the PlayStation 4 controller that I normally play all my games with, not the brand new controller, which I did test. The controller works fine. But like so I bought my PlayStation 4 was the Star Wars special edition, so it has like Darth Vader on the top. I think it was released for like Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 2. I don't remember which. But so I have like a Star Wars themed controller that I use as my primary controller because I fucking love Star Wars because I'm a massive nerd. But like that controller just doesn't work. It like I don't understand why. And it's hard finding information about this game online anywhere. And I think that just has to do with the fact that it's an obscure like basically indie game made for the PlayStation VR, which is like a not very well populated platform for games. So, Lethal Brigade, it goes in the trash. You can throw that thing right in the fucking trash.
I think
Um,
I think the actual name is Crisis Brigade. Is that possible? Because
Is it?
I
Because
think so.
it says Lethal Brigade on my console.
Okay.
Oh no, you're right. It is Crisis Brigade.
Okay.
Maybe I
Alright.
was getting it confused in my mind with Lethal Enforcers because I didn't put
Mhm.
it. I didn't actually put this game on the sheet. I apologize to you,
Yeah. No, that's
Max,
fine.
because you're gonna be the one that's like gonna have to deal with that.
It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Crisis Brigade. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get this working because I do want to play like an on-rail shooter because that seems like the perfect
Mhm.
like setup for like a rail shooter in a VR headset seems like the perfect kind of game, right?
right.
But for right now, it's in the trash. And the demo game, should I put the demo on the tier list or should I just put like the VR on the tier list? I don't know.
I found it. It's called the Playroom VR. So
Oh yeah,
that's
there you go. Like it's fine. It's I like it for what it is, but at the end of the day, it is just a tech demo.
Mhm.
So, but they do this really cool thing. I forgot to mention this. So there's this cool thing where like you can see your controller inside the VR headset. So like they have it, digitized there, and they're tracking it with the light bar and the motions and the camera and whatnot. And so like there's parts of the game where you have to like use it as a grappling hook. So like you have to point the controller at spots and then like swipe out a grappling hook, and then you can jump Astrobot on top of like the wire that the grappling hook is on, and then you can move the controller up to be able to make him reach higher platforms because it moves that wire up also. Like it's just really cool implementations like that are interesting to me when it comes to playing on a new platform like VR.
That's why you're playing VR, I guess, to
Yeah.
see new stuff. I think there's I think multiple games. For example, Resident Evil, they just slapped a VR version on it, and you can be inside Resident Evil. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as I know, it's just the same game, but you're
Yep.
in it.
Yeah.
I guess I would be more interested in unique experiences which are only possible in VR. So the stuff that you just said, I thought that's fun. I always wanted to play Half-Life Alex because
Yeah.
I really love Half-Life series, and I heard they do creative stuff with the headset as well. But yeah, well, you can see where my gaming setup is. I don't know how to do VR in this tiny little room. So
No. And I don't know how I would do VR on PC because you do need to have a more powerful PC to play a game like Half-Life. And you can see my office here has so much stuff in it that there's no way I'm going to get away with having a VR headset in here. Like when I was playing the PlayStation VR, I'm out in my living room. I just move the coffee table. I slide it off to the side and I have all my entire living room to play in. But I mean, I've got a few square feet left in this room where enough room for me to roll my chair around a little bit, and that's about it because I have so much stuff going on here in my office where my actual PC is. So
yeah, in
I
the
don't.
Netherlands we live very small, and I once wanted to try yoga in my
Mhm.
living room, and there was no place for that. It was just too tiny to roll out a yoga mat and also do all the moves. So
Mhm.
that wasn't even possible. So VR is probably out of the question until I find a bigger home, which probably will never happen.
Right. But all right, that's enough for me for PSVR. Um, Guido, it looks like you have a few more games than the both of us. So why don't you go ahead and take a game next?
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that's a game I played like last month, I think. It's Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip, and I think I got that game from you. You gave it to me, Chris.
I think so. Yeah.
So I thought it is suited to get it here, and also it's just a really fun game. So I wanted to talk about it. It's a relatively new game. I think it released last year, and it's made by a Dutch developer, which goes under the handle Snackflat.
Mhm.
And the game is sort of a mixture of a short hike, a collectathon platformer, and GTA.
Oh,
So
wow, okay.
in a really cartoony, shell shaded art style. So that art style was the first thing, which is really unique. It looks like the characters all look like, I think, yeah, I feel they look a bit like birds without beaks because they have no nose, and they all have really bright colors. Your main character is like a blue character, which, and also and every way how they look, it's a 3D game, but they always look straight at you, but the eyes are always on the side, just like Mickey Mouse. His ears are always next to each other. Here, these eyes are always a bit off-centered, which is a really weird look. And yeah, I really was loving this art style, and the premise of the game I also really liked. So yeah, it was one of these games I immediately wanted to play. So the idea of this game is you start as this character. I don't know if he has a name. I don't know anymore. But you start in a sort of office, and you're doing a job interview for a taxi driver. And you got the job, but you only wanted the job because you get a car. And so you get your car, a sort of yellow taxi car, and you just straight ignore the job and just go driving around the city. And the idea of the game is that your character wants to go to space, and how he does that is to collect turbo junk, which is the collectible in this game, and it's scattered around the world in this little open world, and you can collect it just by picking it up when it's laying somewhere. But there's also a lot of characters you can talk to, which give you like assignments. For example, there's other children which are on a schoolyard, and they want to play soccer with you. So there's like a little soccer mini game. And then you can then when you win that, then they tell you a place where you can dig up like a stash of turbo junk, and and then you have to find that stash, and you also have to buy a shovel to dig that up. So so you can and then you dig it up, and then you can hit that stash. It's like a sort of bucket, and you can hit it with your there's multiple sort of weapons, and you can hit it, and there's a lot of turbo junk falling out, which is very satisfying and funny. And when you have enough turbo junk, I think when you have 100, you can go to a garage, and then you can install an extra power, or like a power booster in your car. And eventually you collected enough power boosters. There's one building in the center of the city, which is like a really tall tower, and on the side of that tower there's a road. And if you have enough turbo boost, you can drive that road into the space, and then you finish the game. But
cool.
It's just such a silly game. There's, for example, a guy who says he's a criminal, but in this world they also say there's no law, so you can do anything you want. But he's a criminal, and you have to help him do criminal acts. So you have to figure something out to do a criminal act in this game. There's a guy who sells stolen cars, so you can steal cars and sell it to him, and you can. There's also just coins. I think it's called monies. Yeah, it's monies. So sometimes, for example, if you want to buy a new hat or a new tool, for example, a net to catch bugs, you have to go to a store and buy that with your monies. But that money for you is like there's no value to you. You only want those turbo junk and go to space. And it's just all the characters are really funny. Maybe because it's a Dutch guy who made this, that humor really clicks with me because it's maybe Dutch humor. I'm not sure. But I was really laughing out loud sometimes. There are so many funny moments and conversations with people. And it's also just fun to slap people on the street to get money out of them or something. It's just, it's joy of a game. It looks great. And for an open world game, I think it took me... I can see how long it took me. I think it's only 3 hours. 3.5 hours.
Bad.
That's
so, of course, I didn't 100% it. Because if you want to 100% it, I think you have to... The government in this city went way over budget. And they made a mess out of...
they built a road.
They built like an enormous tower to go with a road on the side. So that was a problem. So you have to pay off their debt, and that's a lot of work. So you have to get a lot of monies, and also you have to find all the turbo junk in the game, and some are quite hidden. Later on, you can buy a hat, which is sort of a radar hat, and it starts beeping when you're close to turbo junk. And sometimes the turbo junk is in the ground. So you see, for example, there's stones in a circle on the ground, and then when you dig in the middle of that circle, the turbo junk comes out. But some are really hard to find, and I thought, if I had more time, I might have 100% of this. I feel... This is a game I would normally 100%, but now I thought, okay, I want to play more games, and maybe this is just silly to find everything. So I stopped, but it felt a bit bad. Normally, for example, Tinykin, I don't know if you know that game. It's also 3D collectathon. I really wanted 100%, and I feel somehow these kind of games, I want to be completionist, but it's all about time, I guess. But if you go to how long to beat, it's the completionist. It says 6 hours and 45 minutes.
Once you get the hat, if you're a throw, it's not too bad. Just combing through the map and just finding everything that's missing.
But I was worried that would be very busy work. Also to get all that money, so you have to steal all those cars. I think.
Yeah, I find trying to do 100%. I think about it often, where I'm like, I really like this game. I should do as much as I can. I either try to 100% a game, or I try to get the platinum trophy, and then I get like 85% through, and I'm like, I think I'm fucking done with this. I don't want to do this anymore.
There's also a fine line where you still enjoy the game and make your life miserable and start to hate the game. So maybe just stop at the high point and just think, I'm done. So that's the game, and I recommend everyone to play it. It's just so silly, and it's hard to make a funny game. I think not much games are funny. So this one really clicked with me, and I would say it's a great game. So it's not a banger, but almost there. I was doubting great game or absolute banger, but I think I will put it in great game.
Cool.
Awesome.
That sounds great.
Sound like a great time.
Yeah,
Max.
it is.
What do you want to talk about today?
Yes, I have a bunch of shitty games to talk about today, and I'm
Awesome,
gonna
I
go
love
with
it.
the ones I played on uh pirate kind of NES cartridge at my in-laws. So like two
Okay.
weeks ago, after we recorded our latest episode, I think it was the following day or even the same night, I think. We went to my in-laws for fun because my daughter wanted to see her cousins. And I was getting bored because there's not much to do once all the kids are playing outside. So
Hmm.
I just took their fake NES, plugged it somewhere. Like it was a computer screen, so I had no sound, but at least I made the NES work with that old 501 cartridge, and I just went through the list and clicked on whatever seemed fun or random. The first
Okay.
game I played was Aladdin 3, and
Wow.
I was hoping for like an NES remake of those Aladdin games from Super Nintendo or the Genesis, but actually it was just like a shmup. It felt a lot like that shitty shmup on the Jaguar.
Trevor
Trevor
McFur.
McFur. It felt a lot like Trevor McFur, especially since I was playing in silence. So I was
Yeah.
just going right, spamming the attack button with a bunch of shit coming out everywhere. And I did like 3 loops, and I was like, well, I'm just looping, so surely I beat the game. But I don't know if my ROM was corrupted or something. But I checked the long play, and actually there were like other levels that I never saw.
That's
But
weird.
yeah, that's weird. I don't know if I just had to do another loop and then I would have gotten the second level or something. But that game was absolute trash. It was just like a weird ass Aladdin character on. I don't remember. I think it was on. He was
On a
on
carpet,
a magic
maybe.
carpet. Yeah,
Oh, so there
fighting.
was Aladdin. I thought it was just like R-Type,
Okay, no,
but
it was actually based on the Aladdin myth. So
okay.
it was actually based on that story somehow. You were going through the desert, but you were just like fighting birds and bugs, and I I think the boss of the level was a sorceress, but it was just the most basic shmup. You go right, you spam the attack button, and there's barely anything to avoid. It was very easy, very boring, absolutely terrible. So then I continued scrolling and I found a game called Jump Jump. So I decided to try Jump Jump. And Jump Jump is a game where you play a weird character with a big head. It looks a bit like the characters from your game that you just brought to Wiedo. Like it has a big head, weird colors, but it's for the NES and you have to jump up like 15 waterfalls and then you're done. You've beaten the game. And every level is just the same waterfall and basically you jump and then while you jump there are logs coming down the waterfall and you need to jump on those logs to reach the next save point of the cliff, and then you can jump on the next logs, next save point, and you do that until you reach the top of the waterfall, and then you've beaten the level, and then you do that over and over again. Uh, uh Obviously, since it's a weird hacky game from like the 90s, I don't know, the physics is absolutely terrible. Like you every time you jump like straight up and then you can kind of move a little bit while you're in the air. There are a bit of there are stuff to avoid on the logs coming down, so you try to go fast because you're not really having fun and you just want to beat the game. But at the same time, you cannot go too fast because if you hit too many spikes on the logs, you will lose all your health and you will have to start again. And
Wow.
yeah, the scenery never changes, the color never changes. You're just jumping up 15 waterfalls, and I was doing that in silence. It wasn't fun, and I would put
Was it
it back
more
in the.
fun than seeing your in-laws though?
Yes, yes. I have many stories about my in-laws, but yeah, it was more fun playing that shitty game. But still, it doesn't go higher than the trash. It goes back in the trash. This one. Never play Jump Jump. It's absolutely terrible. Unless you want a quick beat for a stupid podcast, don't beat Jump Jump. Don't play Jump Jump. It's a bad game.
I wonder where these games come from. It's almost early homebrew, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
I think it's
maybe.
just early homebrew. My guess is just like it's probably weird Chinese people making random games to actually sell cartridges and avoid some kind of litigations. So if they have a bunch of unlicensed game, well, they cannot get sued by Nintendo because they're actually just unlicensed. But yeah, I don't know.
I know a lot. Not a lot, but sometimes what they can often be is like take a part of a game, reskin it with different sprites, but then like not include the rest of the game. So it'll be like 3 levels from a game reskinned, and then like so like there might be a Jump 2. That's the second half of a real game.
Yeah.
But who knows?
But after that, you were done with the cartridge, I guess. Because there were 100. How many games were on that cartridge?
There were like five. I think it was 394 and one, something like that.
Nice.
So surely I could have found something better, but I was trying to get some beats. So I just and I wasn't there for very long. Like I played for an hour or so.
All right.
An hour well spent.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You good? Is that all you want to
Yeah,
talk
I'm
about for the
good.
moment?
That's what I played on that shitty end of the day. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to talk about Gungrave Gore. Are you guys familiar with this game or familiar with the Gungrave games at all?
I know what it is, and I think you got this game indirectly from me.
I think so, actually. So you gave this game to our friend Bad Times, right? And then he gave the game to me. So Gungrave on PS2 is one of my favorite PS2 games. I absolutely love that game. It is 3 hours of the stupidest action game that you'll ever play. It's kind of janky and broken. Like there's a glitch in one of the levels where like you can fall through the floor and just infinitely fall out of bounds, and that's just a known thing that exists on that game. I love it. It's so good. Gungrave Gore came out a few years ago, and a lot of critics kind of panned it and were like, why, like, this game is kind of boring, like all you do is walk down hallways and shoot things. And I'm like, yep, that's a Gungrave game, because in Gungrave Gore you play as Grave. He is an undead,
Gun.
like brought back to life zombie kind of, but not really. Like, backstory doesn't fucking matter. You're undead, you have 2 guns, and then you have, they call it a coffin, but it's not actually a coffin. It's a giant fucking gun that's strapped to his back. So you're walking and you have 3 guns, and a bunch of enemies spawn into the level, and you have to kill them all as you walk slowly forward. That is all this game is. And then you fight bosses, obviously. The boss fights are the best part of Gungrave, and they're always like these big spectacles against giant monsters, or like another guy who is also super powerful like Grave is. I haven't gotten far enough in this game to see too many of them, but so far, man, this game is exactly what I wanted from a new Gungrave game. It doesn't look great. It looks like it was made for the PS3, but it released on the PS5 and modern consoles. It plays like it is a PS2 game, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want. And so, like, to some extent, I can understand why like it got bad review scores and stuff, but at the same time, I don't understand because it's like, did you people not play Gungrave? I mean, probably not because it was a pretty kind of obscure anime game. But this is just more of that. If you like the old Gungrave games on PS2, you're going to like this one because it's just more of that. Don't expect innovation here. Don't expect anything new. Don't expect anything shiny. This is a PS2 game released on modern hardware where you play as a guy and you walk down linear corridors shooting everything until it dies.
But there are not kind of sort of intricate mechanics to make your to play better, or is it just aim and shoot?
So it's barely aim. It's mostly auto aim, honestly. Like you lock onto guys and it just automatically locks onto the next one. So there is like a skill tree where you get to unlock more things. So you get a rating at the end of each level because it's level based, kind of like a Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or whatever. So you'll get a score at the end of a level, and whatever score you get determines the amount of points that you get, and then you spend those points in your skill trees and whatnot. So there is like some leveling progression systems that weren't in the old games, which is kind of cool. But it just means that like all of your special attacks that do big damage, because that big gun that I mentioned that's on your back, you use that to do like big special room clearing attacks that whether it'll be something like shoot a rocket or like do like a really big like shotgun blast type thing where it just like clears out all the enemies directly in front of you. Yeah, just more powerful attacks is essentially what it comes down to. And then you build a meter, and once the meter hits a certain point, you can use that attack again. And you build the meter by shooting normal enemies. And then you can also melee your enemies, but like you're usually not close enough to them to actually use the melee attack effectively. But you have to use it on some enemies because they'll have like a shield up that you can't shoot through, so you have to melee them to break their shield and then be able to actually shoot them. Yeah, it's
that's at least some complications.
Yeah.
And of course, because there is a high score system in somewhat, then there should be like a way to get a higher score. Did you figure out how that works, or is it just you get
yeah, so I think it's based on like the amount of damage that you take and the speed at which you get through the levels are the two primary things. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it because you're not really doing combos or anything like that. It's not like a character action game like Devil May Cry.
Right, I thought so. It looks a bit like Devil May Cry, but I guess it's a simplification of it or something.
So it's like Devil May Cry if he only had his handguns and didn't have the sword that you did all the cool combos with. It's good. This is like exactly my shit. I like this game. If I were giving this an objective rating based on like what I think other people would actually like, this would probably be somewhere in like the low B tier to maybe even almost trash. But not for me. No, Gungrave this is so much my shit. For until I beat it, I'm gonna put it in great games.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna quite put it in absolute banger yet. But once I get through the rest of it, it might go up a notch. We'll see how good like the actual some of the spectacle boss fights get, because if they get as good as like the final boss in the first Gungrave is so good, if they get that good, this will definitely be bumped up a little bit more for me. But
nice.
Yeah. I love Gungrave. This game's so stupid. There's 2 Gungrave games on the PlayStation VR that I'm gonna buy soon. So,
so that's why you bought the PlayStation VR.
No, I did not know they existed until I started looking through the PlayStation store, and because I bought the thing and I was like, well, I might as well look and see what games I want to buy for the VR. And so I was just looking through the PlayStation store. I filtered it to just games that have VR, and there's 2 Gungrave games, and I'm like, well, as soon as those go on sale for $10 or less, I'm buying them.
Sweet.
Nice.
Right.
Well, should I
Wiedo.
transition in my game, which is
Yeah.
totally different?
Please, go ahead.
I'm an owner of a Playdate. Do you know what a Playdate is?
Yeah, I know.
That's the
It's
thing with the crank.
cranky. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's a
cranky little Game Boy.
It's a little yellow Game Boy, a modern one with a crank and just two buttons, two action buttons and a D-pad. And it also has a monochrome screen. It almost looks a bit like e-paper, but it's not. But it's like really, it's really contrasty. So when it's sunny outside, then it works really well. And I have it, but I rarely play it because every time when I pick it up, the battery is empty because you can't turn it off. If you can only lock it and then you get a clock on your screen, which is nice if you use it as a clock, I guess. There's even cradles, so you can use it as a clock, but you can't turn it totally off. So every time when I boot it up, when I think, okay, I want to play it, the battery is dead. So, so now I planned in advance, like, okay, I want to play this thing now because I like it, because it has, well, exactly the games you are talking about, I guess.
Yeah.
It's extremely indie platform.
Yeah.
And you can either buy or download games from itch.io for it and just install it on them. But they also have a catalog, they call it. It's like an eShop or stuff like that. And you can actually buy games on the device or on the website. And it will auto-install on the thing. So I just bought some of those. And one of these games was called Wirewalk. And it looked like a sort of a Zelda game. Like a top-down Zelda game. It has exactly the art style of a Link's Awakening game, but it's in sort of modern times, so more like combined with maybe Tron or something. A little like high-tech stuff in there. And I thought, oh, this is awesome. I want to play this, so I started that. And this game, every 5 screens or so, there's a loading screen. So like I never seen a loading screen on the Playdate, but in this game, every 5 screens, this game starts a loading screen of maybe it's only 2 seconds. But I played one dungeon and I could sort of handle it, but then I went into a second dungeon and you have to go so back and forth in that dungeon so much to do solutions to the puzzles. And there's even when you get, for example, when you transition from one floor to another, so you get up a stair, then sometimes there's an enemy there and he shoots you down the stairs again. And every time when you go up or down the stairs, there's that loading screen. And also sometimes when you go up the stairs and you press the D-pad to the right to get up the stairs, and then the loading screens is done, and then you're standing left from the stairs.
Oh no!
Oh.
So you're when you just not think, you press right again, and you're down the stairs again. So it was driving me insane. I was like, I can't play this game. It's just really annoying. So, well, I like the gameplay. Those loading screens were just the same. And if you play Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, it doesn't have loading screens. It's just a smooth experience. Why does this game on a more powerful system with the same graphics have loading screens? It was making me really angry. So that goes back to the trash for me.
Yeah,
it's just not recommended. It's just sorry.
It's also available on Steam, so
Really?
I don't know if it has also those same limitations. But if not, maybe try that version instead of the Playdate version.
I can't imagine that it has loading screens on Steam. So maybe it's good there. I think the gameplay was really good. There was really unique mechanics. So it was just a bummer with all those loading screens. It made me just angry. Not many games make me angry, but this made me angry. So yeah, back to the trash. So I wanted to play I actually sneaked an extra game in there in this episode because of this. I wanted to play an actual good game on the Playdate. So I started at Mars After Midnight, and that's a newer Playdate game which is made by Lucas Pope. I don't know if you know the guy.
And I'm familiar with the name, but
he made the Obra Dinn.
Okay.
Obra Dinn game, and also Papers, Please.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so really famous indie games, and he made the Mars After Midnight for the Playdate, and that was such a better experience. So this game is it plays on Mars, and you're an alien creature, and every time when it turns midnight, you're organizing community meetings. So you have a community support center, and you organize community meetings for specific audiences. So you start the game with a community meeting for Cycloply? I don't know how you call that. One-eyed creatures, which are angry. So that was your first assignment. You have to. The game starts that you're behind the door, and there's like a door slit. I don't know how you call that, but there's like a latch you can open with your crank. Okay. So you have to crank halfway, and then the latch opens, and then you see there's a creature behind it, and then you have to figure out, okay, is this a Cyclops? If not, or if it's a Cyclops, is he angry? Well, then you can let him in. So then you can let him in your community center and for the community meeting. But if he has two eyes, then you have to ignore him. Or if he, or if he's happy Cyclops, then don't let him in. So that's the first gameplay mechanic. And every time when these creatures behind the door are sort of randomized and are really good looking, and you play a sort of from first person, and they are really creative looking, all kind of weird aliens. So when you let an alien in, then he walks to your food table. So you have snacks prepared for this community center, and they walk to your food table. And they're going to eat something if they like the food, and they make a huge mess of this food table. So there's like 5 or 6 items on this table, and they trash it all up. And there's a lot of also crumbs and stuff from how they ate. So the whole table is messy. So what you have to do with that table, you have to pick up everything. So you have to pick up all the items. Sometimes it's 5 items, and you have to stack them up so you can. You have 2 tentacles, and one tentacle you can hold 1 stack of plates on each tentacle. So you have to stack everything on 2 stacks, and so you can lift it up. And then with your crank, you can clean the table. So you have to clean the table, and then you have to put everything down again with your tentacles, and then you have to organize it how it should be. So you see like a schematic in the back, how it should be organized, and you have to put everything back again. So if the customer is happy with the food, he will leave you $2 or bucks. I don't know what it was, space bucks. I don't know. And he goes into the room for the community meeting. But while you're organizing and cleaning the table, you hear already knocking at the door. You hear new customers coming at the door, and so you have to go back to the door and open the slit again, and until you have like I think it's 6 correct community members, and then the community meeting starts, and that's just a nice sort of win screen, and everyone who is correctly chosen they also leave $2. So that's how you earn money. So you can earn like $24 every round. After that, if you did one community center, you go to the organizing mode, and you have to select what you want to do next day. So what kind of meeting you want to do next day. So for example, you can choose, I want to have a meeting for aliens who are shy smilers, or there was also one that was called Nets with Knives or something. So
That's cute.
well, there's a lot of silly categories which you don't know what it means, and then you have to promote your community center, so you can see on the map, if you choose a category, where all these aliens are in the city, and then you can everywhere where they're in the city, you have to do advertisements. So that will cost money, but it's nice to have everyone. And then you have to choose a food, and some of the people in the parts of city like other foods than other foods, so you have to choose the correct food for the people who come. And then after that, you go to sleep, and then when it turns 12 o'clock again, it starts over. And it's just such a silly game, which is quite a sort of relaxing game, because there's no fill state, I guess. If you just don't get the correct visitor, you just don't get money. And also when they start knocking while you're cleaning up, they will just keep knocking until you come. So it's not that they leave.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really silly game, really original. The art style is really good.
For the Playdate, there's like a lot of things to manage at the same time, right?
Yes, but actually, I was always impressed how powerful the Playdate is.
Okay.
It's just like it's monochrome screen, but it feels like you're playing on a modern smartphone or something.
Oh, sweet.
Because
I didn't know
sometimes
it was that powerful.
I don't think it's that powerful, but maybe because it's a low resolution screen, and also monochrome, you don't have to render that much. So there's even some games with sort of 3D objects and stuff like that. So it's not, or maybe fake 3D, but at least it looks 3D. So it's not that weird to see such a beautiful game, but yeah, it's just this guy is just really good at his job, I guess. Yeah, and it's really fun. And what your goal is eventually you have to save all Martians. So everyone has to go at one of your meetings, and then you cleared the map. But then you go to another map with humans. So then you have to save all the humans, and that's the game. It's not much, but it's really fun. For example, for the shy smilers, you have to use that latch. You can also half open it, and if they still smile when it's half open, and when you fully open the latch, and they stop smiling, then they are shy smiler. So then you can let them in. So there's stuff like that, which is really interesting. There's also one for a community meeting for people who like to do calculations or something, and then you get a calculator, and your character randomly types in a simple calculation like 5 times 5 or something, and then it shows the calculator to the person behind the door, and if they say the correct answer, then you can let them in, or if they say the wrong answer, then they can't do calculations, so they're not a part of it. And also sometimes there's a seller on the before your door, so you can buy stuff from him. So yeah, he sells more types of community meetings, but also items, and you can use in the future, for example, a translator. So you can, because everyone makes bleepy sounds. It's all, I think he made all the sounds with a keyboard or something. It's really like bleepy sounds, everything, but really fun. But every time when an alien talks, when you have the translator, you can. The alien has like a speech bubble which says, for example, C1, and then you can go to your translator and look up what they actually said. So, and you also need that in the future. Sometimes you need to translate what they're saying. So, yeah, a pretty complicated game, and I couldn't stop playing it. It was just so. It was sort of monotonous. It was just all these things again, but the gameplay loop was just fun. It was fun to see all those characters, and it took me, I think, 3 hours and 15 minutes to finish this game. So it's also not short, and honestly, I think this is the best Playdate game I played. I think if you have a Playdate, I wouldn't buy a Playdate for this. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend anyone to buy a Playdate because it's so ridiculous expensive. But yeah, if you're me, then you want it,
right?
Because I like handhelds and weird games. So if you're me, then you.
I haven't.
I think maybe I would recommend you as well. There's so many games for it already, so
have you
maybe
played
I
Doom
just missed.
Yet?
Sorry?
Have you played Doom on your Playdate yet?
I don't think it would work with 2 buttons, but I can try it.
I've seen a couple ports. I think you could try it. I haven't seen any Quake ports.
Doom really only needs a interact button and a shoot button, right? Like, there's not much actually going on in Doom.
You have to look around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, okay. You can look around
with the crank,
with the D-pad. Oh, maybe. Oh, that's one thing I really hate of the Playdate, the crank. It's every game developer wants to implement the crank in the game.
Of course, that's the whole selling point.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm left-handed, and the crank is on the right side. And somehow, and you most of the time need to use the D-pad on with your left hand, and then use the crank with your right hand. And somehow, I can't do the speed or the precision with my right hand on that crank. And some games, I think even the Playdate has an option to turn your Playdate around, so everything is, and so the screen will turn upside down, and then you have the A and B buttons on your right hand, the D-pad on your right hand and the crank on your left hand, and that sort of worked. And I perform better then, but it feels like it's not designed for it. It doesn't feel right. So if you go to the Playdate store, you see the game in the game description how much they make use of the crank, and if it has like a very precise crank gameplay, I'm just not going to buy it because I can't play those games. It's just really annoying. But this game I would put in great games. It's really if you have a Playdate, I think it's a must own. Yeah.
Cool.
Mars After Midnight.
Sounds interesting.
You said great game, right?
Yes.
Oh, you did. Just wanted to put it at the right spot.
Max, what would you like to talk about?
Yeah. I think I will go with an update on Leap Year. So last episode you brought Leap Year to the tier list, and I think we all played Leap Year. Yeah, you're bringing you can. Wiedo is. I saw on the sheet that he might talk about the DLC. So we all played Leap Year.
I played the DLC.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 weeks ago, Chris brought Leap Year to the show, and he quite liked it. It took you like 3 hours to beat, I think. You said.
I think 2.
Like
About
2
2.
hours.
Yeah.
And you put it in the great game. So I won't repeat too much because I had sort of the same experience. If you need a little reminder, it's a puzzle platformer where when you jump, you die. So you have to figure out how to jump to not die and find all the days for the.
Well, you die because you get 100% fall damage from your own jump height.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you can jump and not die, but you have to go up.
Yeah, you have to go up. You always have to go up or go down a single block to not die, and then figure out every other mechanic to actually collect all the days from the month of February.
The leap year month. So 28, right? Yeah.
29.
Yeah, 29 because it's
of course,
leap
29.
year.
Yeah.
Exactly. And on my end, I also thought it was pretty good. I love the art style. The music was really fitting to play.
I love that music. Every time when I think of a leap year, I hear that tune. I played it when it launched because I'm Patreon of Sockpop, the publisher.
Yeah.
And if you're a Patreon, then you get every game they publish. So that's why I got it on release date, and I played it also, I think, around release, like the first week or something.
And for me, like I said last time, I was like at 30 minutes and I was only missing a single day. Well, 2 days in the month. I was missing the 28th and then the 29th. And I ended up, it needed me like another half hour to beat the game. So beating the whole game only took me an hour. And like I said last time, I think that the first part of the game, getting the first 28 days, was quite easy to me. Like, I never had to think too much. I saw a number. I was like, "Oh yeah, I need to use that mechanic." Stumble upon a couple numbers, like by accident, and also there was that one room that had like 4 numbers for no reason. It felt a bit like it was missing a couple of weeks of development to complete it. So, to me, leap year for the tier list would go maybe in this is fine. And from what I've heard about the DLC, I think the DLC might be more up my speed. I think they really cranked up the difficulty on that one. So I think
I can talk about it if you want.
Yeah, please. I was about to. Wiedo, how did you feel about the DLC? Did you find it more difficult than the main game?
Well, the main game I did 100% in 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I did everything, and I also did a speed run achievement to get 100%. So all achievements. So that was 1 hour and 50 minutes. So for me, it was really easy. And then because I played it long ago, and then Leap Year March released, and then I was talking to Steve from the Polykill podcast, because he also played it, and he was like, I heard it's more difficult, and I hope it's not so super difficult as the last number of the original. And I thought, I couldn't even remember I have any difficulties with this game. It's not frictionless, but it's like the original. It's not frictionless, but it's also not hard, I thought. But that's puzzle design can be hard for some people, and just have to click with it. And for me, it wasn't hard. So Leap Year March, I was a little bit afraid. I was like, do I remember it right? Was it a difficult game, the original game? So I was a little bit afraid to start Leap Year March. And I can say there is no number they give away in this game. Every number, and it's because it's March, it's 31 numbers. There is a puzzle for it. So of course it starts slowly, so it's not that hard. But even when you're at number 12 or something, you really have to think a long time how to get a solution, or even think. Sometimes I think, can I even get this number yet? should I continue? Because it was so difficult. I was like, I don't know how to get this. I'll look at it later. So it was way more difficult. And the interesting thing of Leap Year March is that it doesn't really introduce new mechanics. It's just you have the knowledge of the first game, that all the mechanics. But Leap Year March just continues with your knowledge, and the only things that it adds is water. So if you go into water, you die. And also there's buttons. So there's in the map there's either green or pink buttons. If you press the green button, every green object in the map will be activated. And if you press the pink button, all the green goes away, and then the pink objects get activated in the map. And that's pretty much what they introduced. But because of these extra complications, it's so much harder. It took me maybe 1 hour to beat the original, and this one took me 4 hours to beat. And it was like, my brain was cooking when I was done. I was like, how? Sometimes I was like, how do I get there? It's just really insanely difficult. And
it's not like they work better as a pair. Like Leap Year is like the first level, and then Leap Year March is like playing both back to back. Sounds like more like a complete game than just Leap Year or just Leap Year March.
I don't know. Yeah, it's almost like the original Leap Year is sort of a tutorial, or it explains you all the mechanics in the game, and then Leap Year March just goes with it and makes it really hard. But I heard people had difficulties with the original, so they probably won't like March at all. But if the original was sort of easy for you, then this is just, because I love the original already. I would put it in maybe absolute bangers already, the original, because I loved it so much. Everything about it, the graphics, the music, it's just like a me game. I really like Metroidvanias that they call it. That it's just so creative. This is exactly what I look into for games, like the creativity with weird new mechanics I never seen before. So it really clicked with me, and this was even better. I think I enjoyed this game so much, like the Leap Year March DLC, that I cannot put it in absolute bangers. It's just so good. I really love it.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, I would like to real quick talk about a game that I absolutely loved that I've not finished yet.
Okay.
But I won't belabor the point anymore. I'm going to talk about South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Around the time that we started this podcast, I don't remember what episode it was on. It was one of the early ones, maybe 3 or 4, something like that. I had talked about I had played The Stick of Truth.
Yep.
And I loved The Stick of Truth. So like when I was about halfway through playing that game, I had gone to a retro store and I found a copy of Fractured Butthole for PS4. I was like, well, I love this first one so much, I'm just going to go ahead and buy the second one. It's been a few months. I got that itch to play some more South Park. I went ahead and popped it in. And, yep, it's still fucking fantastic. These guys, they knew exactly what they were doing. This is South Park doing South Park in the best way that they possibly can. So this game starts out at the exact end of The Stick of Truth. Like, that ending is canonical. Like, you have taken over the other character's fort, and then Cartman just shows up and he's like, "Hey, assholes, we're not playing fantasy anymore. We're playing superheroes now." Everybody's like, "But we were all doing this." He's like, "Ah, fuck you guys. We're playing superheroes now." And then you're just suddenly playing this brand new superhero game. And so the big change that they made is that the combat is set up on a grid instead of being traditional like JRPG style combat. And what that what that means is that, well, first of all, the grids are not nearly as big as like other like intense strategy games. Like you're not going to get Final Fantasy Tactics level of like tactical strategy here. Repeating the same words again in a slightly different order works perfect for sentence structure, doesn't it? But so the grids are going to be like 4 squares by 6 squares, or 4 squares by 8 squares, or something like that for most of the battles. They're really, really small, and so you'll have a number of spaces that you can move, usually 2 or 3 depending on your current stats. I think you'll be able to move 3 squares. I don't have any characters that can currently move 3 squares. Everybody can. Actually, I might have one. But that's besides the point. And then all of your attacks are, you have 4 different types of attacks that you can use for your character, and each one of them has its own type of area of effect. Like one might be able to attack only the enemy directly in front of you. One might be a beam attack that attacks everything in just a direct row, or some might be able to actually attack horizontally. And about a few hours into this game, you end up getting a second like class. So you have your primary class that you start the game as, and then you get to essentially multi-class like in Dungeons and Dragons and be able to take moves from a different class that you could have taken, or just a completely separate class. And what that allows you to do is pick different moves that affect the direction in which you're attacking in different ways. So you can mix and match those depending on what situations you're getting into. So like there was for instance a battle that I struggled to get through. I ended up getting killed during that battle, so I changed my moveset around to be able to have some attacks that like went horizontally across the grid plane instead of just vertically, or I guess vertically across the grid plane instead of just horizontally across the grid plane. Which allowed me to attack enemies in a better way. So that's really cool. This also, it does the thing that I love the most about South Park, where it really just shows the kids being kids. It's like you'll be in the middle of a battle, and you're on the streets of South Park, and you're in the middle of the battle, and suddenly they'll just be like, "Oh, there's a car coming," and everybody moves off to the sidewalk. Car drives by, and dude in the car is just like, "Get out of the fucking road, you kids!" And then everybody moves back into the grid, and you continue on the battle. Like, and it doesn't happen every time. It'll happen like once every 10 battles or something like that. And battles aren't super frequent. Man, it's just fun. So one of the primary obstacles in this game, like they found a new way to block off South Park for you again. So like, it's the exact same map from Stick of Truth. So you're just in South Park, you're running around, you're exploring all the same houses again, but the bad guys that you're fighting against, they have put down red Legos in some places, and they call those red Legos lava. So you have these spots of lava that you're not allowed to pass through, and there's one really funny gag really early in the game where Cartman's mom is like on the phone with the police, and she's like, "Well, my son's telling me that there's lava outside the front door and I can't leave." And she's like, it's so fucking funny, man. I love it.
Yeah, did the writers actually write this?
Yeah.
So because
this is,
if I remember,
go
it's
ahead.
a Ubisoft game, right?
Yeah, this one was Ubisoft. This one was developed by Ubisoft. The other one was developed by Obsidian, which was and I mean, Obsidian's great. I don't know why they didn't go with Obsidian again. Maybe Obsidian was working on something else. I don't know. But this is Ubisoft developed, and I will say there's a little bit of that like Ubisoft greed that you'll see. Like there's one spot where you go to a bus stop, and like if you click on the interact with the bus stop location, it brings up a menu of like all the DLC you can buy for the game.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like I don't want your sales pitch integrated into my game. That's a very Ubisoft thing to do. And I don't like that. But other than that, I've not run into any issues with it. Like it's a perfectly fine RPG just set in South Park. So if you like the stuff that that Matt Parker and Trey Stone have done with South Park in the past, like the first 9, 10, 12 seasons, you're gonna love this. And I still think South Park is good. Like I watch episodes from time to time. I'm not completely caught up with it or anything, but South Park is still funny. Those guys are still doing what they're doing, and yeah, this game's great. I'll probably have this finished by the next episode. At least I hope so. I don't think it's supposed to be too long. I'm like 10 hours into it.
Cool.
So,
did you like it more than the first one, or just the same?
No, I think I might like Stick of Truth more. The combat is definitely a little bit more involved in this one. But I think I like the fantasy setting a little bit more than superheroes. They do some interesting stuff with the superheroes. Like Timmy is basically like he's a speedster. He's supposed to be like the stand-in for the Flash, which is kind of funny considering he's Timmy. He's a cripple. He has the kind of fucked up legs and the what crutches. So it's just kind of funny having him, and like he's your fast travel point. So whenever you go to fast travel, Timmy shows up and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna," and he's got the stutters. So he's like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're the main bad guy is Butters. You remember when Butters had his alter ego? Oh god, what is his name? I'm drawing a blank on it. Where he had like the tinfoil Captain Chaos. Captain Chaos. So he is your primary antagonist in this game, which is just great. Like those episodes with Captain Chaos were absolute classics. Yeah, I'm gonna stop like ranting about South Park now because it's just a good time. If you like classic South Park, you'll like this game. I'm going to put this right up into absolute bangers. Like,
wow,
you can't really go wrong with this one.
Nice. So yeah, if you love South Park, then it's probably for you. I used to watch it, but I fell off of it eventually. I don't know. At one time, it didn't click with me anymore, and that's unfortunately before the game's released. So
yeah,
I never looked into these.
I think there was a lull around like after season 12, season 13, which would have been like, I don't know, 2006, 2008, somewhere around there where it started to get a little, I don't know, not as good. It's like they almost ran out of ideas, but then it kept running and then it got good again. I would say it got good again in like, I don't know, 2016-ish. My time frame's probably off on those numbers exactly, but I think it's generally accepted that there's a period in the middle there where it kind of fell off for a little bit. And I think some people did fall off the show, and then it kind of came back in a big way and still relevant. Like some of the specials that they put out during COVID were really funny. So
it doesn't help. It started to lean even more, I think, into US pop culture.
Yeah,
which totally didn't. I didn't know what. I couldn't see myself into that, so I was like, "What are they talking about?" Eventually,
right.
Well, in the earlier episodes, somehow I knew. So maybe I went out of the loop of the recent pop culture in the US, or it's just too far from my bed. So I don't know.
Right. But anyway, that's South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Wiedo. What would you like to talk about next?
I'm going to bring a game which is totally. I played this because I was invited to the show. It's called Trash the Planet.
Yeah.
Trash the Planet is a clicker game.
Okay.
So yeah, you just have to click things to activate, and then you have to wait until the activation is done, and then you can do something else. Really simple. It's like the early web games. But this is with this great variation because it's really story heavy, and this game is about capitalist raccoons. So this game starts with you're a raccoon, and there's like three things you can click. You can either gather food, gather trash, or sort trash. And you have to get all these resources to attract more raccoons to make your bars go up faster. So you in the first you do that, and meanwhile at your right you see all kind of updates and funny. I think it's limericks about what you're doing as a raccoon and the community of raccoons, and so you keep doing that, and you attract more and more raccoons. And at one point, you can also do a research, and there's a whole research tree, and you need like sorted trash to buy all kind of resource, or to all kind of research. So, for example, you need what was all the kinds of trash? I think were underwear and. Well, all kinds of trash, but that's your money, so to speak. And then you can unlock different things. For example, you can develop farms. So you can make farms, and they actually call it food necromancy. So you can make farms, so you can gather food faster. But you can also make housing, so you can house more, because there's a limit of raccoons you can attract. First it's 100, and you can make more housing, so you can have more raccoons. And eventually, if you research enough, then you get a sort of cutscene where one raccoon finds a mirror, and then they become self-aware. So the raccoons become self-aware, and they go also more behave like humans. So then you can get in the next phase of the game, and it's probably some years forward, and then you're suddenly in the stock market. And it's actually called the trash market, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, it's called the trash market. And there's also a mobile phone where you can communicate with other raccoons. And these raccoons are your advisors in what you have to do on the stock market. But also they all have different agendas. So I will get to that later, but there's one raccoon which is called Money Baby, which is he just wants to make as much money, or trash in this case, as possible. So he explains how the stock market works, and what you can do is in your smartphone you can get a graphic of how much the current trash price is, and then you can sell the trash at a high point, and when it's low, then you can buy it. So that's you really, there's like a stock market in it, but there's special things you can activate. For example, you can activate the binsider trading. And if you activate that, then in a short time the stock will get way higher, and you have to time the moment to sell it, because it will also crash really hard. So and also the other thing you can do is buy shares, and if you buy shares, you can every 10 shares you get another thing. So you can upgrade every. For example, you can upgrade that binsider trading to be even more powerful. In the meanwhile, you get all kind of text messages from all your raccoons, and you get richer and richer, of course, because you have all these advantages. So you can do insider trading, but you can also do stock price manipulation. So the stock prices some of the stock prices get down and some get higher. So you can sell a lot of your stocks when they are high, and then buy the cheap ones, so you can get a lot of stocks. You can also gamble, and you can frack. So you can get money out of, or trash out of the ground. And of course, your other raccoons don't have any ethical problems with these, and they're really funny about it. So so you have all these text messages, and which are really hilarious when you talk with the raccoons. And of course, the money baby is always convincing you to get as much money as possible and as quickly as possible, and eventually he starts to invite you for yacht races, because he bought a super yacht and he wants to race it with you and stuff like that. And of course, your character has his doubts about it. He thinks, okay, this is maybe a bit ridiculous to do, and we have to think about all the population, all the other raccoons. But this quickly escalates, because there's also one raccoon which is a doctor, and he says eventually he says that the other raccoon population is not doing well. The health insurance is bad, and maybe we could spend some money to help them. But of course, then Money Baby interferes and says, no, we have to make as much money as possible and stuff like that. And there's also one raccoon which is really religious. He made up his own religion, and he wants to start a religious war with another population of raccoons and stuff like that. And he wants to convince you to help him. And so it's a really silly story, and it escalates and it escalates. And there is an act 3. I won't spoil it, but
Okay.
let's say it's very of the time. Let's say we see similarities in the world right now. While this game is played, this game is just, you can play it in the browser on itch.io for free. And it's made in 2021. And, well, if you play this, you see so much similarities which happens in the world right now, which is just hilarious and also really sad, honestly. It's both. So I had such a good laugh with this game, and I couldn't stop playing it. It's only 2 hours long. So normally these clicker games can take really long, but it's more about the story and a lot of reading than actually gameplay, I guess. Also, the music. When you start the game, they say, "Do you want to play with music?" And in parentheses it says it's really good. So I said, okay, it's okay. And actually, the soundtrack is really good. It doesn't bore you when you play it. So. Because it can take along with all the reading. I really enjoyed the soundtrack, and you can even buy that if you want to support the developers. Cool. And it's just such a funny game. It's just a lot of raccoon puns and a lot of trash puns, and one example was like the doctor was like concerned that there was too much pollution or something, and then the Money Baby said, "I can't hear you because of the sound of my money gun" or something. So it's just so silly and funny, and the raccoons are really cute as well. So I thought this is the perfect game to bring to the show, and I think it's a great game.
Cool. That sounds pretty good. I have this pinned right here on my web browser, so I might end up playing this. This might not be the last time we hear about this on this show.
And you can also download it and install it if you're worried about your save game or something. Mm-hmm. That's always when I play a browser game. I'm always afraid to lose the save game when I close the browser. Yeah. So I've downloaded it just to be sure, because I played it in 2 morning sessions. Nice. So It's
Max.
fun.
Crash the Planet is a great game full of raccoons.
Yes.
Love it.
Awesome.
Max, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah. For me, finally, in this episode, I went back on itch.io and played some block pushers because I hadn't done so in a while. So I've played 2 of those. The first one is called, let me look at the list, I don't remember. Yeah, Reduce Yourself. So Reduce Yourself is a single screen puzzle game block pusher. It's not really a block pusher, it's more of a self pusher. And when I say single screen, there's a single screen. It's not every puzzle is a single screen. You just have one screen and you have to figure out how to reach the last spot on the map. And at first I was stuck in the very first section. I had like six moves available and I couldn't figure out what to do. It took me like 15 minutes to actually realize that so basically your character is a square of 3x3, and the first move that you do is that you hit a red block, and the red block will remove one of your block from your grid from inside yourself. And the main mechanic of the game is that you can shuffle those blocks within yourself around. So if you go next to a corner and move left, then those 2 blocks at the top that are hitting the wall will move right. And those blocks that are within yourself can never exit your square of 3x3. So you have to shuffle all those 9 squares around to figure out how to reach the next red block, remove another part of yourself and get slimmer and reach the next section of the map.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting and complicated.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first section took me like 20 minutes to figure out. Once I figured that out, I managed to get like the first 3 red blocks and move to the second section. And then that second section also took me another 20 to 30 minutes to figure out, because at that point you realize that you have access to the action button, and the action button will make you rotate 90 degrees. So you need to shuffle your blocks around yourself and rotate to actually manage to kind of turn into tight spaces and tight corners to reach the other red blocks. And once you've removed all of
so it becomes Tetris, sort of.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a Tetris block pusher. And once you've removed all of your blocks inside yourself, you can reach the last block, which is just inside the walls. But since you don't have any blocks that can be removed from your grid, but you can just reach the end of the puzzle.
Wow. And it's just one screen.
And it's just one screen. It took me, I don't know, an hour, 15 minutes or so.
Wow.
So it's a fun little puzzle. I would say it's quite hard. You have to really take in account how you move in a space and how to deal with those changes in rotations and everything. But if you want a good challenge, I would say it's a great puzzle game. I had a good time with it. And I guess I would put it in this as fine. I mean, it's just a single. It doesn't push it too far. There's no music. It's just a good puzzle. It's not like a great game, but it's a good puzzle. So in that sense, I would put Reduce Yourself in this is fine. It's a fine puzzle.
I get a bit like the sliding puzzle vibes with it also.
Yeah.
Because it's also like a 9x9 grid where you slide.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
that's a good way to describe
kind
it.
of vibe, yeah. And the second one, the second puzzle script game that I played in the last few weeks is called Swapban. And this one is a bit more classic in the sense that you have a main character and then you have to move blocks to specific spots to to actually beat like 20 puzzles or something like that. It's a classic Sokoban, and it's also done with Puzzle Script, but I think it's using Puzzle Script Plus or something like that. So the sprites are larger, so it looks a bit more like an NES game or Super Nintendo game, instead of those like 5x5 screen tiles from the original Puzzle Script engine. And once again, there's not much to the game. It's more of a puzzle game than a full game, and the mechanic of this game that you, instead of pushing the blocks, you swap places with those boxes. So if you're on the left and you move right, then you will be on the right, and the box that you were trying to push is now on the left. So you have to kind of shift around the block to make it go left. So you push right, the block go left, and then you come back to the left, you push right.
Or you have to walk around it.
Yeah, exactly. You have to turn around the block and rock it so you can move those blocks around. And all in all, it's a couple puzzles. It didn't get as difficult as the Reduce Yourself puzzle that I just talked about like 30 seconds ago. But it was just as fun. I mean, I was in the mood for some block pushing. That's what it got me. It was a nice twist that I had never seen before, never tried before. And for that, I will say that Swapban also goes in This Is Fine. It's just the idea of a puzzle game, well executed, and nothing else. So yeah, two little block pushers. If you want really some good block pushing, those are a fun time, and you can lose a bit of time with those. I've also started another one that's a bit more complicated. So maybe I will bring that to the next episode. In the description, it says that you should take notes between levels because those last few puzzles are really difficult. So let's see how that one will end up in a future episode.
Okay.
So I brought one game more. And
yep.
Wiedo's stealing the show today.
Yes. Last but least, it's Donkey Kong Land for the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I was inspired to play a Donkey Kong game because of reasons. And the Donkey Kong Land, I thought, well, I never played this series on my Game Boy. Well, you can see here that I have a lot of Game Boy games. And I wanted to try it. So I started with the first Donkey Kong Land, and wow, this is something else.
If you're rough.
Used to, yeah, it's rough. When you're used to Donkey Kong Country, you're used to certain mechanics. For example, you get all the Kong letters, you get a life or something like that, or there's balloons to get lives. There's just certain mechanics, but somehow this game, it looks like Donkey Kong Country, but it's like a sort of bizarro world fever dream version of Donkey Kong Country, because first of all, you can't see shit. It's just like the pea soup mess. There's like they used the same 3D art style.
The sprites from the Super Nintendo, crunched it down to 8 bits for the Game Boy, and just used that as a base for their game.
They said good enough.
But that's not the worst part. But the backgrounds they also took, and because that's only 4 colors, it's just like a mess. Sometimes you see something move, but you don't know what. But you just assume it's an enemy, I guess. it's just wow. And also the gameplay doesn't feel as tight as the Super Nintendo version. It's really zoomed in, so you have a really small viewport. So it's really easy to just have blind jumps or walk into an enemy which is just standing like 5 meters away, or if it was in real life, you could see it normally, but now it's just you walk into it, and of course you can die really easy in Donkey Kong games. But now you have to, if you want to save the game, you have to find all the Kong letters in the level, and then after that level, then he says, "Do you want to save the game? Yes or no?" Well, you will save. So at first, that's not a real big problem in this game. But later levels, they start to hide all those letters as well. Or the levels get really long and annoying, and you most certainly don't want to play that level again. But you have to if you game over, because you can't save. So you either have to play one long-ass annoying level again, where you have to control an uncontrollable platform, and if you fall off, you die. Or find all those letters as well in that level. Or you have to hope that the next level is a bit less annoying and you find all those letters, or else you can't save, which is really annoying. And to top it all off, at one point there is suddenly a level where you find all those Kong letters really easily, but they go on the top of your screen, those Kong letters. But then at a certain point in the level, those Kong letters go down again and they form a bridge. And and then you can jump on all those letters to get to the other side of a cliff. So now all of a sudden they mixed up that mechanic with the Kong letters, which is really confusing. And suddenly you can find like the set 6 times to form bridges, and if you miss one letter, then there's one stair missing in the bridge, which is so weird. Why? Who thought of that? It's just breaking all the mechanics you learned, and then all of a sudden it gets weird again. It's just such a weird game. So, well, well, it's a weird and trashy game. It's not good, but I enjoyed myself. So that's that. Well, maybe 2 or 3 levels I was cursing, but well, the rest I sort of enjoyed myself. I like that it was like a weird version and not a demake, but a weird other version. Right. But I can't say it's back to the trash, but it's certainly almost trash.
Yeah.
So
there's just
I
enough
can't
effort to justify it.
It makes a lot of people angry, I guess. And I started next to this. I started the second game, and it's so much better. Everything improved. Everything is improved. It's more like the original games. I would recommend to play that instead. Just skip the first one, which is just a weird game.
Yep. Oh, Donkey Kong Land, almost trash.
Yes.
All right.
The music was good though.
The music is really good. Yeah.
All right, that's all the games we have to talk about today.
Yes.
How are we feeling? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a nice spread of both trashy games and good games. It's really fun seeing a wide variety of experiences.
For sure. Let's move into some hobby time.
Oh yeah.
Two things that I've been doing that have taken up a whole bunch of my time. It's still spring, so gardening is one of the big things. For the last couple of weeks, a lot of what I've done actually is just planting flowers, all of the like annuals in flower pots and hanging baskets and stuff like that. Like, it's not for anybody else to make my house look nice. A lot of people like to plant flowers to like make their house look nice for other people, so that people like look at their house and are having a good time looking at their house or whatever. I don't fucking care what anybody else thinks about my house. I like planting flowers because I like having flowers planted at my house. So I planted a whole bunch of stuff. I might take some pictures and put them up online. I probably won't because I'll forget. But yeah, that always it always just takes a little bit of time, just emptying out old soil and dirt and whatnot, and digging holes, all that good stuff. But the other thing that I've been doing is that we're working on getting all these episodes uploaded onto YouTube, and what that means is that I have to spend a whole bunch of time making YouTube thumbnails, and so a whole bunch of my time has gone into making 15 thumbnails at this point because we had 14 episodes plus the one bonus episode. This episode's currently 15. So I'll have to make another thumbnail. And so just getting used to the digital editing that's required for making thumbnails. And I've been doing them in MS Paint because it is the easiest program for me to use.
Yeah.
Which actually, it's got a lot of, for a free program, it has a lot of useful tools. Like it works relatively well for what I'm trying to do. So it's been, once I got used to making them, it all started to just flow together pretty seamlessly. And they all kind of look a little shitty, which I think is perfectly acceptable for this show. But it's been a lot of fun.
I love the vibe.
If you want something better than Paint, I haven't used Paint in a million years, so I don't know what the state of it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know if it's changed, but there's online. It's called Photopea, like the P as in like the vegetable, and it's just basically Photoshop but online in the browser. So
I recommended the Pixel to Scotch, but he got confused and rage quit. So
but if it works, Paint, just go ahead.
Exactly.
That's good enough.
So
it's good enough.
with there were two problems I was having with the Pixlr program online. One was that the advertisements, every time a new ad would try and load in, it would freeze what I was doing, and it would essentially just freeze the entire browser for 20 to 30 seconds, which was really frustrating when I'm trying to do things. And then there's just so many options of things that I don't need all of those options. I'm trying to do really basic stuff here, and all the options were just a little overwhelming, and it would have taken, I'm sure I could get the hang of it, but for somebody who's not very tech savvy to come in and be basically overloaded with all these different options, it was just I'm gonna do this the simple way, and Paint's been perfectly fine.
Whatever works, right?
Yep.
It's always the way to go. Cool.
So that's been me, Max.
Oh,
what have you been working on?
Yeah, so I finally released my big video that I was talking about in the last few episodes, where
you did, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. But yeah, I visited a bunch of arcades in a single day with my brother, and the video did fairly well. Gained 30 subscribers and 800 views. It's more than what I usually do. They didn't quite catch on as I was hoping, but yeah, it did bring the channel forward, and I have a bunch of ideas to continue that kind of series. So I think I will do more projects like that. It just takes a lot of time, but I'm happy with the reception, and I should know in 2 days which thumbnail worked the best, because now you can do some A/B testing with YouTube, so you can put up to 3 thumbnails, and at the end it will tell you which one worked the best. So I'm pretty excited to hear about that. But yeah, I also added English subtitles, so if anyone here is interested to see me walk around, talk about arcades, and visit a bunch of weird spots, you can actually follow along, because they are English subtitles. So yeah.
I sometimes see that titles of YouTube videos are they're English YouTube videos, but they're translated to Dutch titles.
Yeah.
Maybe if you also automatically translate it to English titles. I don't know how that works. Maybe and say it has subtitles, then maybe it's more attractive for English viewers as well.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I didn't think about it. So yeah, so that's the first thing I did, and I'm happy. I can now finally think about my next video. And also on the side, I've got so it's half a hobby, because I got a contract with Lotto Quebec once again to do some B-roll video editing for their event they have in Montreal next week. So I've been having 2 jobs. I had 2 jobs for the past week, where during the day I do my normal job, and during the night I do some video editing. It's pretty chill. It's just collecting footage and making like 2 minutes B-roll with like silly moments. So it's really easygoing as far as side work go, but it's still like more work that I have to do. But it gives me an edge because they really like the way I work and the pace at which I work and the results. So I should get more and more contracts in the future. So that's a
Cool.
pretty cool sideline. So it can
Nice.
it can help finance more videos and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm also going to the event in Montreal next week. So I will be able to talk about that in the next episode. I went last year. It's in the Casino of Montreal. They have like a big arcade section, and that's where the gala is happening. So all the arcades are on free play, and I'm in the VIP section, so I can come like 2 hours early, get some food, talk with other creators. So I'm pretty excited to go there. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I have a lot of cool projects coming in the next few weeks.
Nice.
Awesome. Wiedo,
So,
what have you been working on?
yeah, I have a lot of hobbies. So I picked one which I'm most busy with. I think daily. So and that's I call it SCOBY projects. Do you know what a SCOBY is?
No.
Isn't that mushroom to do some kind of kombucha?
That's also that's also a SCOBY. So a
Okay.
SCOBY it's a acronym for, it stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
Okay.
So there's quite many SCOBYs, and I started with doing sourdough bread, and sourdough is actually also a SCOBY. You just put in flour and water, and then you have to wait, and then the natural yeasts will make it grow, and then you have to put more water and flour, and eventually you have like a whole jar of sourdough, and then you can make bread of that sourdough. So it's just all from the air, all the yeast from the air, and then you create the SCOBY yourself. Also, my wife does a lot of it's called tibicos or water kefir, and that's like small. Yeah, how do you call that? There's like small slimy bits. You can make sort of soda with it. So you just put water, sugar, and these water kefir in there, and then after a few days of fermenting, you have put dried fruits and lemon in there, and then after a few days of fermenting, you see all those weird slimy bits jump around. You have to filter it, and then you put it in a different bottle, preferably a plastic bottle, and then you have to put it in the fridge, and then it does a second fermentation. And with that second fermentation, you also get bubbles in there because it eats the sugar and it generates like the
CO2.
The CO2. So you also get bubbles in so you get like a nice soda out of it. And it's also, all these things have probiotic properties because they are like a bacteria culture, so it's really good for the gut. And today you already mentioned it. Today I bought a kombucha SCOBY, which is more like it's more like it looks like a bit like a mushroom or something. It's like a big jelly thing, and you have to put it in. You have to make black tea, and you have to put sugar in it. And then you have to put the kombucha SCOBY into that, and have to ferment for a week. And then after that, you also have to do a second fermentation with fruit juice, for example. And then you have a sort of probiotic iced tea you can make out of it, which is also really good. You can also buy that in stores nowadays, all these things. But it's really fun to make it yourself. But these things, we call them our Tamagotchis because you have to keep them alive. It's like because it's a living thing, you also have to keep feeding it. If you don't make a bread every day with your sourdough, then you have to risk that it dies. So you really have to work with it. That's why it's a daily hobby of me to make these things live. And the last 2 days, my sourdough seemed to be dying because when I refilled the flour into it, it wasn't growing anymore. I was like, oh, what I'm doing wrong. So I'm babying it all day today. I was like, maybe put some more, maybe a different heat or maybe less warm water in it. I'm just experimenting to get it alive again, because if you make a sourdough bread with almost dead sourdough, then you don't get it doesn't rise your bread, so there's no air pocket in your bread, and then it's just like a brick. So that's but yeah, we are so busy with that all day to keep our Tamagotchis alive and make nice. If it succeeds, the sourdough bread is amazing, and these sodas are also really nice and healthy. So that's what I'm doing on daily basis.
All right, that sounds like fun. It also sounds a little stressful.
There's ways to sort of make them sleep.
Right.
So there's ways to freeze them, I guess, and revive them, and so I never looked into that because I'm just afraid I'm killing it. And actually, I did this 7 years ago a lot, and then I moved house and into another city, and somehow all these things didn't survive the move because I was also busy with all this other stuff, but also I think the environment was different. And the temperatures was different, and they just didn't like it anymore or something. So I had to throw that everything away, and now I finally found the headspace to start it all over again. I also made, for example, fermented chili sauce, stuff like that. In the past, even like fermented cauliflower, stuff like that. It's just really fun to do. It gets really weird tastes sometimes, because if you ferment cauliflower, then it gets really sort of sour. It's really weird, so you have to get used to that taste. But it's really fun to experiment with this stuff.
Cool.
I'm always scared of just growing bacteria. Like I wouldn't want to get anyone sick because I didn't wash my pots properly or stuff. So I'm always scared of those fermented projects.
I had that once that I made chili sauce out of the Carolina Reaper. And these Carolina Reaper peppers are really expensive. And I made a real big jar of Carolina Reaper chili sauce, and like a month when it was done, after a month, it was like a really big it's not bacteria, but like
moss,
like mushrooms. It was just like white on the top, and I was like, we can't eat this, so I had to throw it away. So, so it takes also a long time and a lot of experimentation. We actually, that's one really big cool project we did. It was making blue cheese out of cashew nuts, because I'm vegan. We made like a blue cheese out of cashew nuts, and then you have to make like a sort of cheese with grinded cashew nuts. And then you have to put the fungus, the blue cheese fungus on it. And then you have to put it in the fridge, and you have to turn it around every day. And then it grows, the blue fungus grows into the cheese. And then you get a really nice blue cheese out of it. But the first time was really nice. And the second time it turned yellow and pink. And it was like, ooh, we can't eat this. And also, that was a really expensive project to go to waste, and also it took like a month or something. So that was the last time we did that. But
yeah.
really
Well,
cool
cool
to do.
stuff, Wiedo. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's move on to the loot box. And all right, so for me, I have 2 videos that I want to shout out. First one is a creator called Hazel. She primarily does videos about like both anime and video games. But this video is called PlayStation Games That Might Be Evil, and it's just talking about, it's like her going through a bunch of different weird PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games that are just obscure, not like horror games, but just games that have strange aesthetics to them. It's a really interesting video. She has a unique style to what she does. So it's cool.
Oh.
It's like an hour long if you want to check that out. And then Noodle is my second one. His video they just released is called The Most Broken Game I Have Ever Played, and it's about the Matrix Reloaded game, which is an absolutely insane game. And Noodle does this really fun thing. He's a huge YouTuber, so if you're in the gaming space on YouTube, you've probably seen a Noodle video at some point in time. But he does this thing where like he animates what he's talking about with like a caricature or a drawing of himself, but he like uses the little drawings and then like cuts them out and puts them on popsicle sticks and like animates them as though they're puppets and then like changes them out for different expressions, which is just a really fun way to have like an animated avatar on screen instead of your face on screen, but also to not have to like actually animate a character, because you don't you're basically just using keyframes at that point. You don't have to do any of the in-betweens, you don't have to do any of that bullshit. So he's got a really fun style to his videos and I really enjoy them. So
I never seen this before, this account.
Okay.
So I'm not in the same bubble, I guess. I actually played this game in the past.
Yeah, it's a weird game. But I mean, I love The Matrix. The Matrix is so fucking good, man. I love all 3 of those movies.
Right, so this game, well, it's fun to play. I like this janky stuff. So yeah, it's fun to check out. Probably not to beat. It will be get tedious.
Yeah, definitely check out that video. But yeah, Max, what have you got for us?
Yeah, on my end, I've got 2 fucking weird videos for you this week. The first one is from a YouTuber called ZoomZike. I really like ZoomZike. I've been following him for years, and his well-known series is, I don't remember the name, but it's all about the luck factor in the Mario Party game. So he analyzes every mini game, every board, and he gives a strategy to win in Mario Party, and when there's luck involved, how to make the luck go your way. So anyway,
interesting.
He really deep dives into those games, but he started a new kind of videos, and the video is called the Startpiece Odyssey, and basically it's I've never seen any video like that before, so it's kind of a guide on where are all the star pieces in the first Paper Mario, but instead of just doing a guide, it's kind of a skit, and he put himself with a green screen in those different spots in Paper Mario where the star piece are, but he also acts with the different NPCs. So there's kind of little skits and sketches and gags on top of showing where all the star pieces are. It's really weird. I started it and I couldn't really stop watching because it was so weird. I would say it gets a little bit repetitive. Like the video could have been like shorter, but at the same time it couldn't because he needed to show all the star pieces. But if you want to watch something weird that you've never seen before on YouTube, you can give this video a try. It's something. It's really something.
I will say it kind of felt like something that would have been put out on YouTube in like 2007.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except I don't know if somebody in 2007 in their home would have had like the technology to be able to do that kind of video at that point in time.
It looks a bit like children TV from that time.
A little
Like,
bit, yeah.
Yeah,
they also
yeah.
had that cheap green screen technology from the 90s, maybe even.
Yeah. So yeah,
And it's in that weird low poly 3D world, live characters. It's something, yes.
yeah, it's really something. So, if you want something weird, go watch that. If you want to watch another thing that's really weird, I have a video called the Planet Dub 64 title that was lost to time, and the YouTuber is called Corruption Quest. And so for April Fools, he released a video about a fake Nintendo 64 game about Planet Dub, which I think was a band in the 90s in Japan or something like that. And it just goes on like if it's a full retrospective of that game, like if it actually existed in the 90s, and it just like found it, and he compares it to Mario 64 as if Mario 64 was a tech demo for this game. It's really weird, and I love the dedication to go like into a deep dive of a fake game for like 30 minutes. It's wild, it's dumb, it's pretty funny. Go check that out.
Cool.
Nice.
Wiedo,
Okay,
what have you got for us?
I have like a guilty pleasure of watching reality TV, and especially if there's like games and travel involved. And I recently found out there's a YouTube show, which is a reality show or sort of like a reality game show with traveling. And it's actually really popular. All these videos get like at least 1 million views. So probably a lot of people know this. It's Jetlag the game. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I
I heard about it. Never watched it, but I've heard about this.
These there's like three main guys who do all kind of games in different countries. For example, they have like a series where they play hide and seek in Japan, and they only they only allowed to use public transport. So they have like 3 hours to hide somewhere, and then go with all the high speed trains to one point, and then the others can buy hints to where he's located. For example, they can ask, are you more north or more south than me? And then they can cut the country in half. Or they can ask for photos of the nearest train station or stuff like that. And in return, the hider he has a deck of cards, and he can pull a card when they ask a question, and these cards can get advantages or disadvantages for the seekers. So they can use it as a curse. So sometimes the seekers have to do an assignment to lift the curse. For example, they can't enter doors unless they throw a 4 with the dice or something, or higher than 4 with the dice, something like that. And they have to do something to lift the curse, or maybe it's time. So and it's just fun to see people go through Japan. In this case, Japan. And when I found out this YouTube page, my whole family is addicted to this, watching this show. My son, the earliest thing when he wakes up in the morning, he's going to watch episodes of this. And me and my wife watch it every night, and we're binging everything. And actually, these guys are pretty annoying. They're not the most. Yeah, I would prefer other contestants, but somehow it's just really enjoyable. They also play tag in Europe or something, so they have to or they have to claim countries in Europe. So when they're earliest in, that's another series. When they are earliest in one country, then they claim that country, and then they have to do an assignment to lock the country so the other team can't steal it. So they have to conquer the whole of Europe, for example. And it's the fun that they visit all these places, and you see all this these locations, and they have a fun show about it, and it's just a nice game element as well.
Yeah.
It's really creative stuff, and well deserved that so many people watch it, actually.
So
It's
cool.
just really fun to binge. So yeah, I just recommend whole Jetlag game, and if you want to start one show, I would say go watch Hide and Seek Japan, because it's just fun to see people in Japan.
Cool.
And the other page, other creator I want to promote is Grain Dead. I really love photography. It's one of my hobbies, and I first wanted to bring a photography YouTuber which really explains photography, but it's really for photography nerds like me. And this guy is just, he does all silly camera reviews. So he buys, for example, I would recommend to watch This Tiny Man is a film camera, and that's about the action man with the camera inside, and he tries that camera out, and he's going to show you what kind of pictures you get out of it. And that
Cool.
this guy is from Britain, and he's just generally really funny. He has a lot of, it's just joke after joke when he's talking. So it's just super funny to watch, even if you don't like cameras or photography.
Yeah.
He's just
Cool.
really funny. And I think he was, before he did this, he was in a car show, and I think it was something like on YouTube, but something like Top Gear.
Okay.
It was called Car Throttle, and he stopped that, or maybe I don't know why he stopped that. And he started this, but he doesn't publish videos very often. It's like the last one was 1 month ago, but the second to last one was 7 months ago, and so he's a super infrequent YouTuber. But I love all his videos. But yeah, This Tiny Man is a film camera. It's a really funny one to get started, I guess.
Excellent.
Sorry. Yeah.
Awesome. Great recommendations, Wiedo.
Yep, appreciate it. And if you would like to reach out to us with any questions, comments, or topics of discussion, you can email us at thetrashstation.com. At gmail.com.
Yeah,
not
at
just the
gmail.com.
website. Yeah, I forgot the Gmail in there.
That's fine. And we would also like to thank Hate Aldrich for our intro and outro music. You can find the link to all of his music on his Bandcamp page at hatealdrich.bandcamp.com.
And we would also like to thank RainbowSavvyDesigns for our logo. Links to both of their works are available in the show notes. And you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/scotchandhobbies. I usually stream every Monday and Wednesday around 5 or 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can find me on social media if you want at Scotch and Hobbies.
And if you want to play some of my games, you can check out my itch.io page at potomax.itch.io. Otherwise, you can see what I'm playing on Blusky at Potomax. And if you speak French or can read the subtitles, you can check out my videos on YouTube at youtube.com/jeuxbière. And what about you, Wiedo?
You can find everything. I made a little website called Wiedo.nl. So WIEDO.nl, and you can find the link to my podcast, New Game Old Flame, and also to my photography page, and also to my Blusky. So that's easy.
Cool.
Awesome.
Excellent. Wiedo, thanks so much for coming on and
No problem. Was
recording
really
this
fun.
episode with us.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. So I would gladly come again sometime.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks, for sure.
Max, have a good night. Wiedo,
Yeah.
have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Absolutely.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.